Hello friends, welcome to this channel. Today, we're going to discuss a topic that often sparks debate and raises many questions, especially for those who want to understand the story of Jesus' crucifixion more deeply. You might have heard about the Swoon Theory, which is the idea that Jesus didn't actually die on the cross but only fainted and then came back to life. This theory is often used to doubt Jesus' death and resurrection, which are the core of the Christian faith. However, it's important for us to look at this with an open heart and a clear mind, because the truth about Jesus' crucifixion is not just about history, but also about faith, sacrifice, and extraordinary love. Let's explore together whether the Swoon Theory holds up or if it contradicts the facts and logic we have. What is the Swoon Theory? The Swoon Theory comes from the word swoon, which means to faint or lose consciousness temporarily. Supporters of this theory argue that Jesus did not really die on the cross, but only fainted due to exhaustion and severe wounds. They say that after Jesus was taken down from the cross and placed in the tomb, he regained consciousness inside the tomb and came out alive. The reason often given is that Jesus recovered and rose again, not because of resurrection from death, but because he never truly died. This theory tries to explain Jesus' resurrection in a more scientific and reasonable way for some skeptics. But let's take a closer look to see if this theory can stand when tested against medical facts, history, and eyewitness testimonies. First, crucifixion is a deadly punishment. Crucifixion was one of the most brutal and painful forms of capital punishment in Roman times. The process not only caused massive blood loss, but also extreme difficulty in breathing. A body hanging on the cross experiences respiratory muscle fatigue, causing death by suffocation, dehydration, and shock. There is no historical record of anyone surviving crucifixion after hours on the cross. The Roman soldiers were highly trained and made sure the victim was dead before taking the body down. They even pierced Jesus' side with a spear, and blood and water flowed out, which medically indicates real death due to the rupture of the heart sac and bodily fluids. Second, medical evidence supporting Jesus' death. From a medical perspective, the wounds Jesus suffered were severe. He was whipped, leaving his body covered with open wounds, forced to carry a heavy cross, and finally nailed to the hands and feet. This caused massive blood loss, shock, and organ damage. When the Roman soldier pierced Jesus' side, blood and water came out, a sign that the heart and pericardium had ruptured, meaning the heart had stopped beating. In medical science, this is undeniable proof of death. Third, impossible to survive in a sealed tomb without care. After Jesus was taken down from the cross, he was placed in a tomb sealed tightly with a large stone. If he had only fainted and not truly died, he would have had to survive inside a dark, cold tomb without food or water for 3 days. Without medical care, severe wounds, and in a very weak condition, it's impossible for anyone to survive such a situation. This is not just about the physical body, but basic logic about how the human body works. Fourth, the reaction of Jesus' followers confirms his death. One of the strongest proofs that Jesus really died is the drastic change in his followers. Before the crucifixion, they were scared, hiding, and even abandoned Jesus. But after the resurrection event, they became brave, willing to face death, and spread Jesus' teachings with full conviction. People who were willing to die as martyrs would not do so if they knew Jesus only fainted and then came back to life. They truly believed Jesus had died and risen, and their faith was based on real experiences they had. Fifth, historical testimonies from non-Christian sources. Besides the biblical records, there are also historical sources from non-Christian writers that confirm Jesus' death. Roman historian Tacitus and Jewish historian Flavius Josephus mention that Jesus was executed by Pontius Pilate and truly died. This shows that Jesus' death was not just a story from his followers, but was acknowledged by independent historical sources. With that being said, From all the medical, historical, and testimonial evidence, the swoon theory cannot stand. Jesus' crucifixion was a very painful and deadly reality, not just fainting. His death and resurrection are the core of the Christian faith that gives meaning and hope to all of us. Let's strengthen our faith by understanding this truth, that Jesus willingly endured suffering and death out of his great love for humanity. This great love teaches us to live with hope, forgiveness, and love. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so more people can be enlightened. See you in the next video. God bless.